Welcome to Club E. Hi, I'm Rick Brimacombe of Brimacombe and Associates. I am your architect of business growth, and I'll work with you to unlock your potential and amplify the scale of your company. Today, we're talking about benefits of partnering with an independent finance company versus traditional funding sources. I want to thank our sponsors, Irish Titan, an e-commerce and web development firm, Boulay Group, CPAs and advisors, Highland Bank, a locally owned community bank, Romaine Berg, a digital marketing agency, Minnesota Sales, a sales acceleration firm, and the Network Connect, a catalytic gateway for growing your company. Before we get started, I'd like you to subscribe and like our Club E channel. It'll just take a moment, so I'll wait. Also, want to let you know, new and improved for Club E, that our sessions are now found on all major podcast platforms. So you can watch either here live while we're doing this on YouTube, where the videos reside in our Club E channel, or on any of your favorite podcast platforms. So again, hit the subscribe and like button below. It's right by the video. It'll allow us to deliver better content to you, as well as let you know when our sessions are live. Okay, I'd like to introduce today's speakers, Spencer Thomas and Erin Rasmus. Welcome, Spencer and Erin.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
And a reminder to everybody that their contact information is in the comments field. Erin at KLC Financial and Spencer at KLC Financial. But you can see those there. In addition to, we'll give you a chance a little later to ask some questions. Okay, Spencer and Erin, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your firm, and the various activities you're involved with.
Sure. Thanks, Rick. Erin Rasmus with KLC for about 3 years now. Prior to that, solar and energy efficiency finance world. And when the incentives kind of diminished for the solar consumer market, it was just a natural fit to come on board with Spencer, who I knew through our oldest sons playing hockey together. Involved in the Wayzata Youth Hockey Association as well, and sit on that board, as well as Club E, I-94 Chamber. Yeah, Spencer?
Thanks, Erin. And thanks again, Rick, for having us today. I'm Spencer Thomas. I'm president of KLC Financial. I've been with KLC for just about 19 years. It'll be 19 years here in a couple of months, which is great, and it's hard to believe at the same time. Grew up in southern Minnesota, actually on a farm. So I've got a lot of background with a variety of different types of equipment and different types of businesses. Live here just in the Twin Cities now. Like I said, I've been at KLC 19 years, and just prior to that, I was with a different company called leasepoint.com, which is also an equipment finance company with an online presence. I got 4 kids, and frankly, they keep me pretty busy when I'm not busy with KLC. So thanks again.
Yeah, well, I know, Spencer, you and I have had an opportunity to interact on several different fronts over multiple years. And Erin, you and I have gotten a chance to get to know each other over the last half dozen months or so through Club E. So I appreciate your support of Club E. So quick question before we get to our event today. Which one is more challenging, the finance world, or Erin, in your case, mother of 3 hockey coach, and Spencer, in your case, father of 4 and that farming background? Which one's tougher?
Go ahead.
Oh, well, Spencer's my boss, so I better be pretty careful. I mean, the work world is pretty smooth and enjoyable, but I think that coming to work and dealing with a variety of different customers is actually very fun and exciting. It really keeps it fresh. So I'm going to have to go with like the work-life mom balance is a little more challenging.
Yeah, I would say being a father of 4 is a real privilege and a lot of fun. It can be challenging, obviously very rewarding at the same time. Being at KLC, it's the same, right? It's got its challenges, but it's certainly very rewarding and fun to have the community of the coworkers that we all work with, friends, if you would. And as far as farming goes, I don't know if there's any farmers on the call today or on today, but it's a difficult business. A great way to grow up. I was really glad to have that background and experience. I Wish I could give that to my kids. At the time, I didn't probably appreciate it, but for all the farmers out there, it's a tough go these days, and we're thinking about them all the time. So
Yep, yep. And I'm teasing you both a little bit about being a parent. I have 4 children myself, so being a parent is a wonderful life experience, and glad to hear that you both are enjoying yourselves with that. Okay, before we get to our event, let's discuss what you, our audience, can receive for your participation. Put your questions into the comment field. Today's hashtag is hashtag finance. And if you do that, you'll get a chance to win one of two $25 Amazon gift cards. And for those of you that are interested in receiving financing following this presentation, KLC will waive their documentation fee, which is a value of $250 to $350. So when you talk to either Spencer or Erin, just mention Club E and you will receive that discount. So again, for your questions in the Amazon gift card drawing, type in hashtag finance. Okay, Spencer and Erin, don't really care who starts with this, but tell us a little bit about who is KLC and give us some background on the firm.
yeah, I think I'll go ahead and start, Rick. So KLC Financial, founded in 1987 by my partner Mark Keatman, always been located here in the Twin Cities. Like I mentioned, I joined the company in 2001. Our office is in Minnetonka. We have about 25 individuals in the company today. Many folks, or many of the individuals, employees, have been with the company for a number of years. We're really proud to say that, and I think it makes us, a better company. Really, we established the company and built a business to provide capital to entrepreneurs and other small businesses so that they can, in turn, build their businesses and achieve their dreams. Our company is primarily what we finance is equipment, and we're going to talk about that more later today in this call. But we focus on equipment, and we're not a bank. We don't do deposits. We don't do mortgages, lines of credit. We're really just finance equipment, and we specialize in that. And I think that makes us different. And we've really finance all kinds of equipment, and we specialize in that. So that's who we are.
Okay.
You
And
wanna
for
add
those,
to that?
excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think he summed it up pretty good, being one of the founders of the company. So I don't really have much to add.
Yeah, I guess what I did forget to mention is we are a national company, but we really have a strong regional focus. And like I said, we're here in Minnesota. Still, probably half of our clients and customers are here in the state of Minnesota. And so I think if you go to the community, what we're best known for is for helping small businesses grow here in Minnesota. But with that, we are trying to continue to grow the business and expand the reach. And we do finance equipment from as small as $5,000 up to say $5 million. And we'll talk about a variety of ways we do that, but either equipment financing or leasing. So we have a wide variety of offerings specific to the equipment finance space. So
Yeah, so, and not everybody in our audience is going to be super familiar with equipment finance. So maybe any other color commentary or any other details you'd like to provide about what exactly equipment finance is?
Yeah, I would just add that essentially it's providing capital for business essential CapEx purchases. So we don't need to make it too complicated. It is what it sounds like it is, but as Spencer mentioned, we have various products that fit under that umbrella of equipment financing, which could be equipment finance agreement or leasing, but essentially providing the capital to make those purchases.
right. And I would just add to that oftentimes people ask us, well, what kind of equipment do you finance? And we'll really finance a wide variety of equipment. From everybody thinks of something when you say equipment, but the challenge we always have is to have our audience think about HVAC equipment for a business. So everything's commercial use, I should say that. But it could be buses, it could be HVAC, CNC equipment, security systems, software, signage, certainly trucks, trailers, construction equipment. But it really is, if it's a piece of equipment or a capital asset that a business needs, we'll look at financing it and put together a solution that is the best solution for that. customer in that situation.
All right. How about, you mentioned a little earlier, loans versus leases. So maybe explain the difference between those.
I would start by saying that we really have the ability as a small company to determine what are the customer's best needs. So, if they're trying to find the lowest monthly payment, maybe that's a lease option that we can put a residual on the back end of a buyout so that we can accomplish that lower monthly payment. But the difference is between a loan, which is like a principal and interest component, which would kind of mirror our equipment finance agreement, can be used fairly interchangeably with the word loan, is that for an equipment finance agreement, you have the principal plus interest component. A lease is going to be what we call a contract of payments, so we don't break that out. A lease, the lessor is going to be the owner, in our case, KLC Financial. And then there's going to be some type of purchase option typically at the end. Equipment finance agreement, the consumer is going to remain the owner of the equipment for the life of the transaction. And then finally, sales tax component in an equipment finance agreement, that's going to be paid up front and included in the financing, where in a lease, we are going to be sales tax exempt, and then the customer is going to pay that sales tax on a monthly, what we call on the stream of the monthly payment. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think you did a great job of summing it up. So,
Thank you.
yeah, certainly, right. Certainly, a lease is going to give you the flexibility and
Yeah.
to use it, and then you have the option to buy it or not. And like Erin mentioned with the finance agreement, it's yours, you own it. Very similar to a loan. So.
And I would just add that there are certainly times to use one or the other, and we have the ability to support that for each customer.
Yeah, and actually, some of our customers have some of both, right? We'll have customers who have certain things they want on a finance agreement. They know that's something they want to own for a long time, and they'll have other pieces of equipment or assets they'll want to lease because it's for that particular piece it makes more sense, or that's how their CPA asked them or advisor asked them to set it up. So,
okay. A reminder to our audience to subscribe and like the Clubby channel. Also submit your questions into the comment field. Today's hashtag finance, a couple of Amazon gift cards, and then also a discount on closing fees associated with doing some work with KLC. Highland Bank, as I mentioned, is one of our sponsors, Highland.Bank. I've been on the board there for a couple of years. They've been a sponsor of Clubby for maybe 5 years. Talk a little bit about how KLC is different from traditional banks and other lending sources.
Yeah, I can go ahead and take that. Well, first of all, the banks in the community are friends, and we work very closely with the banking community. For a lot of the clients that we work with, they want to have one or more than one source of financing. So they'll have their bank partnership or relationship, and then they'll have KLC as a secondary source of financing for specifically equipment. How we're different is that we're an independent, privately owned company. We're not regulated like a bank, and as a result, we're able to be more flexible, oftentimes with customers, providing the financing that they need, where maybe their bank isn't able to help them out, or at that particular time the bank isn't able to help them out. So we like to think of ourselves as a complement to the services that a bank will provide. We're also generally financing the equipment, whereas your bank will typically finance your business and provide because they're doing your deposits and your line of credit and other services, whereas KLC is financing just that piece of equipment. And there's a lot of times where a bank will bring us in and say, hey, in this particular case, our customer, we think it'd be best for them to use KLC, and we're going to continue to do everything else. So we look at the banks as our friends and as our partners.
Yeah, but I can. Go ahead, Erin.
I was just going to say that in the sense, if you wanted to think from like a vendor partnership, because we have a lot of vendor programs that we work, bank might be considered the captive finance options. So, we're able to really leverage the incentives that might be available if you don't use that captive option and you come in with either cash or an outside finance company. So to really get creative and figure out how to leverage the incentives that might be available instead of using the, maybe it's a 0% for 48 months or whatever, grab a longer term, include the cash incentives, and then, leverage a lower monthly payment or whatever that customer might be looking for as well.
Yeah. And I know that speaking from firsthand experience, when I've interacted with you folks on projects, they have had bank financing for other parts of their business. So like you said, Spencer, partnering with the banks is, the typical way that you folks work. So yes, very much true. So we did have a question that came in about financing. This is from Pete. Any kind of inventory finance for new businesses, or is it strictly capital asset?
Yeah, Pete, great question. We do not do inventory financing. We are specific to capital asset financing. So unfortunately, not able to help you with that.
And question, Spencer, give the numbers again on kind of the small end of the range and the high end of the range of the financing you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll consider a transaction as small as $5,000. And we look at ourselves as a relationship company. We're trying to build relationships with clients for many, many years, as opposed to just doing a transaction. So when we talk about a $5,000 transaction, we're talking about helping a customer now with the opportunity to build with them over time, and then going up to $5 million at the point. That's about the largest transaction that we'll get involved with.
Single transaction, yeah.
Yeah.
What I would say is that we do have the ability to get pretty creative. So if the goal is some type of cash out for, while they're holding on to that inventory, if you've got assets to leverage, we could look at some type of sale leaseback type of transaction. Or, the best thing to do is contact us and tell us what your specific situation is, and let us try to take some type of consultative approach and figure out, okay, how can we try to get you, accomplish that outcome?
Yep. So thanks for the question, Pete. And a reminder to everybody, #finance, get your name in the drawing, opportunity to ask a question of Erin and Spencer. Next question, how can an equipment finance company like KLC help business leaders and owners in our audience grow their companies?
Want me to take it?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would say, just kind of leveraging the last question as well, is that, for a new or startup company, or even one that's in growth mode, to let us know what's the goal of this? Is it to grow? Is it to become more efficient? Lower your cash flow on a monthly basis? And we can really come in and try to hear your story and figure out, okay, how are we able to accomplish whatever goal you're trying to overcome? So, being more about the story and the character of the customer versus maybe what your P&L and balance sheet look like. We really have the ability to be more full circle and listen to that full story versus just one thing, and try to help you guys grow and accomplish whatever, purchase you're looking for. I'm sure you have other ideas as well.
Yeah, you may have said it, Erin, but having been in the business for a long time and having the resources that we all have as a team at KLC, oftentimes we can make introductions as well to folks like Rick or banks like Highland Bank and other banks to help that customer with their business. One other thing we didn't mention earlier or haven't mentioned yet is that a good percentage of our business comes from programs that we set up with equipment dealers. And so if your business happens to be the kind of business where you're manufacturing and selling equipment, and you have a customer who wants to buy that equipment but needs financing, we will develop and provide those programs as well to help customers buy whatever it is that you are selling, if that's a piece of equipment. And that's, so for some of you, that's probably a great fit. And frankly, there's other folks that do it, but one of the differences about KLC is that, we'll work with companies that are maybe only selling, they're getting going, right? And so they're doing a handful of sales right now, or maybe they're only going to do a couple $1 million of sales a year. We want to work with those companies that are selling that equipment where the bigger players in our space are just not able to help them at that point in their business cycle. So
Yeah, we have no volume requirements. Yeah, good point.
Right, which is actually the one that Erin and I interacted on like 6 months ago or so. Was a early stage company, but the revenues were just starting, and because of the volume flexibility, you were able to set something up that you could grow with them. So that was nice of you, and appreciate that. So we've talked a little bit about the circumstances by which you would provide financing. Talk a little bit about the characteristics of the business that KLC could add value to. So define that business a little bit more for our audience.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. The most important thing that we're looking for is a strong character. When we look at clients and opportunities that come across our desk, we want to find companies with strong character, a lot of integrity. And beyond that, we're interested to learn more about the business and the equipment need and how that equipment is going to impact their business. If the equipment makes sense and the transaction makes sense, we want to work with that business owner to structure or provide a solution that is going to help them procure that equipment in whichever way makes the most sense for them. And so, to answer the question, Rick, I think it just depends on where the customer is at. We want to meet customers wherever they're at in their business cycle, and help them get the equipment they need.
Yeah, I would add that as a KLC employee, we become your advocate internally to try and help you guys grow. So it can be really exciting, and we get passionate about your businesses too, because you guys are passionate about it and it's your life, and you guys live it every day. So, when you guys are able to present us to that and really be transparent and tell us, where did you start? Where are you at now? We're able to really jump on board and help relay that message internally as well.
One thing I thought of that I wanted to add is that at KLC, we have the ability to finance companies who are pre-revenue, companies who are growth stage, and so they're not making money yet. We have finance clients who are very profitable, of course, and we can be competitive in those scenarios. Companies who were had a long history, but now maybe for whatever reason their business is struggling. We can get involved and help them with refinancing or recapitalizing or getting whatever piece of equipment they may need now to take on that new client or that new contract. We have helped finance 501c3 companies, ESOPs, municipalities, so widely held companies, professional organizations, medical practices. So just really a wide variety of different types of businesses that we've had experience with and we've helped get and procure equipment.
So I get this question a lot from different people in the clubby audience and community. They're always curious, how can they present to a lender to improve their chances of success? So any tips on what a company should do as they reach out to you, and how they should present themselves, and what information they should present to you so that it hopefully allows them to have a positive outcome?
Yeah, you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, Rick, I think it's very similar to what I've heard you actually speak on when people are approaching you, looking for some investment opportunities as well. I mean, you want people to be organized, hopefully have your financials put together, personal financial statement, be able to explain if you're looking for that new piece of equipment or something like that. Is it going to make you more efficient? Is it going to be a cost savings? Is it because you're in growth mode? Have the story put together, because again, we're really going to take what you present to us and what your needs are, and we're going to turn that into a presentation for our credit committee. So, being organized, knowing your story, and being able to explain, how is that going to help you? That helps us, take it and figure out, okay, here are the 3 takeaway points that we really need to emphasize so that we can get them the funds that they need to do that.
Yeah, and I would add, during this challenging time we're in with the COVID-19 pandemic, it's going to come up. We're going to also want to know, how does this affected your business? What changes have you made, if any, to ensure the viability of your company? What is your plan for the next 6 months or 12 months if, in fact, this pandemic continues? How will, what is your plan? And so, just further to what Erin said, presentation is everything, and we understand too. I will say that many business owners out there spend their days, in their truck, driving a machine, working in the business. And so we really, because we do a lot of small business financing, we understand that, and we understand that you're busy all day, and we have developed a lot of tools to make it easy as possible to do business with KLC. We have an easy online application that you can do on your phone from wherever you're at. We have the ability to send information securely to KLC, and then when we get the transaction approved, we use DocuSign 99% of the time now, so we can send all the paperwork, documents for you to sign. You can sign them electronically, and so candidly, you could be on a machine and take a 5-minute break, go through everything, and you wouldn't have to disrupt your day to stop what you're doing and come into our office or meet you at your office. So, but that said, we're always happy to meet you at your office or on the job site too. So,
With our mask.
with our mask.
Either that or at a hockey rink, mutually convenient to you too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So the inverse of that question, and I ask this a lot of folks that we talk to here at Club E. Reminder to subscribe and like. In addition, you can get these sessions in your favorite podcast platform these days. One of my favorite questions is common mistakes. So you just both talked a little bit about things companies could do to best position themselves to get the financing. How about the opposite of that? What are some common mistakes that you see over and over and over that folks make when they are requesting a loan or a lease?
I would say the two most common mistakes that I run into are transparency. Be open and honest with us. If you have a blemish on your, credit report or a previous bankruptcy, be forthright with that, because we can help you overcome that. Again, there's nothing that's going to just kick you out of the box for us. So we want to know everything up front so that we can figure out the things that are needed to overcome that. And the other thing would be realistic expectations. I mean, know where you're at in your life cycle, know what you're trying to accomplish, and come into it with an open mind so that we can work together. I think that one of the biggest things that contributes to like the failure rate in the finance relationship is just really having unrealistic expectations for where you're at or what kind of structure you're going to achieve in that financing.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. Maybe one thing I would add, Rick, actually is sometimes I think customers think about what they need, either what they need this particular machine, but in the next 12 months they're going to need 4 more. So either we try to work with them to say, well, what do you need right now? Try to compartmentalize within the stages of what are you going to need now, what are you going to need in 3 months, what are you going to need in 12 months. It's important that we know everything, but at the same time, if there's something you're going to need in a year, let's just talk about what you need now and focus on that, and then make a plan for the 12 months. So
yeah, as we know with COVID, nobody predicted that, so anything could change now from 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we have another question from the audience. Reminder, #finance, get your name in the drawing, as well as submit any questions you have for Erin and Spencer. From Paul, is there a golden rule for lease versus purchase?
Yeah, it's a great question, Paul. It's okay if I take that one. I would say the golden rule is ask your tax advisor /and/or CPA for his or her advice on how you should set it up. get it set up right in the front end, so that when you meet with him or her the next time, they're not surprised. But, I mean, that's been the best advice that we've been able to give our customers, because ultimately that professional is the one who you're going to work with to complete your financial statements and your tax returns. So seek their advice.
Yeah, and I think Spencer takes that question in the tax benefit, realm. And when I first heard it, I actually thought about it more from a cash flow perspective. So I work a lot of vendor programs and help build those. And so in my mind, when I hear that, I think about what's that customer's goal? Is it to have the lowest monthly payment? Then we might have some more flexibility on the lease side to, build in that residual at the end, the buyout, and have you accomplish a lower monthly payment, or an equipment finance agreement, consistent monthly payments for the life of the agreement, and then you know that you own it after that. So I would just say, I don't know that there's a golden rule for it, but really that it's appropriate in different scenarios.
Okay. Um, Sounds good. All right. As you look back on our talk today, anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to get out there to our audience, or if we've covered it, anything that you'd like to reiterate, kind of a main takeaway that you'd like to share with everybody?
Yeah, I would just like to emphasize that, I mean, a lot of our customers are still having a lot of success through COVID. We might not be on the other side of it yet, but we have a lot of very successful customer transactions that are still happening. There's a lot of capital that's, still available to be put to work. And, if you had a stumble in the beginning of it, a lot of our customers have. People kind of stalled for a little bit to see what was going to happen. We totally get that. And so, we're here to help provide financing even through this time.
Yeah, I would say exactly what Erin said. We want to help you wherever you're at in your business cycle. We've worked with so many different companies in so many different scenarios, and I think oftentimes entrepreneurs, even the most um, positive, energetic ones, will occasionally think, "Well, it's not going to happen. I can't make that. It's not going to work." Don't give up, right? And I would say, hey, give us a call. Let us talk through what you're looking to do. And there's a lot of ways to help you get the equipment you need. And we've been doing this for quite a while. We know and have had success with many different structures and different ways to approach the need. And so, and I also say, a lot of times too, try to understand if the customer can understand and help us understand what is the real benefit to that equipment. If I get this machine, it's going to cost me Y, it's going to contribute X to my business. Um, that's so important.
Yeah.
So.
Got a question in from Matt. Again, folks, hashtag finance, put in your questions. Matt wanted to know, in terms of timing, how soon or how early in the process would you like to talk to somebody? Obviously, if they need the money tomorrow, today is a little late to give you a call, but give us a timeline that you'd like to interact with folks.
I would say growing the customer experience really starts as soon as you determine that you're going to have some business needs. I mean, even if you don't use us for every single transaction, like we mentioned, you've got maybe a great banking relationship. You should really diversify your funding sources. So get us involved from day one so that we really understand your growth, what you do. And then that way, when you're ready, we're able to pull the trigger much faster. With that being said, we still have very quick turnaround time. So, if you're looking to purchase something, in a week, we can certainly try to support that if you've got your financials or bank statements in place.
Yeah, I mean, candidly, we want to get involved as soon as possible, like Erin said. But at that, even with that, I would say more of our customers will get in touch with us the day of or the day before they want to buy something, and and we're really accustomed to that. I mean, certainly it's not ideal, but with a lot of the vendor programs and dealer programs that Erin's talking about, we're supporting that type of turnaround, 1-2 day type quick process turnaround, get you the machine you need. So we can handle both.
And our closing process is actually very quick. So getting, DocuSign documents out can certainly happen same day to close.
Right. That's very helpful. So you have some interesting things to lean on, both parents of multiple children, Spencer, background in farming, Erin, background in hockey and coaching. As you look back over your career, and I guess you could even go bigger than that, the life. Is there something that you've learned along the way that you wish you would have learned sooner?
You've got more life history. Why don't you start?
Wow, I mean, that's a big question, Rick. Where to start? I think first and foremost, and we all talk about it, and we probably tell our kids the same, but dream big, right? I think the number one thing we should all do, or I wish maybe I've been really fortunate, but at the same time, dream big, think big. If you don't think and dream big, it'll be a lot harder to get there. And so that's number one. Number two, I think that in your life, right, you got a handful or maybe more people who are really important to you. Be family, friends, professionals, friends of parents of friends, but contacts, and build those contacts. And people are there; they want to help you, and if you take good care of them, they'll take good care of you. And so I think don't burn a bridge, and leverage those relationships over the long term.
Yeah, I mean, mine goes pretty much hand in hand, but I was going to say, don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Career, thinking about our customers, you're your own biggest advocate. And if you're not doing that, you're doing yourself a disservice. So, be confident and advocate for yourself.
Yeah, and I totally agree with all those, as well as work ethic. The farming community, nobody works harder than farmers, and athletes. Athletes work super hard as well, dedicated, focused, all those things. So I'm sure the backgrounds in farming and sports have helped the two of you. Thank you very much for joining us today. Again, Spencer and Erin's contact information can be found in the comments field. Their website, klcfinancial.com. Any closing thoughts, Erin, Spencer?
Thank you so much for having us. We've watched these, and it's nice to be on the other side of it. We look forward to hearing from everyone.
I agree. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody who is on today. And again, feel free to reach out. We're happy to talk through whatever questions or needs you may have. We're just a phone call away.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining us, and we'll look forward to having you back again soon. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.